The fall of the colony in the distant reaches of the galaxy, humanity had made its mark. Though still a young species, their scientific ingenuity, relentless exploration, and ambition had spread across many star systems. Earth had long been the center of peacekeeping efforts, hoping to bridge the vast differences between alien races. But peace, as humanity would soon learn, was fragile. The galaxy's power was balanced on the edge of a knife, and humanity, for all its potential, had yet to fully grasp the complexities of intergalactic politics. Kira Holt was one of humanity's finest diplomats, hand-picked to represent Earth on its first official mission to negotiate with the Zorvans, a ruthless and proud race that controlled large swaths of space. They were known for their advanced technology, their fearsome war fleets, and their brutal conquests of weaker species. But to Kira, they were just another race, waiting to be brought to the negotiating table, to be persuaded into peace, or so she thought. Kira was assigned to a newly established human colony on the outskirts of Zorvan space, a peaceful planet that would act as the venue for the first interspecies meeting between humanity and the Zorvans. The colony, a thriving hub of human life, had flourished under Earth's protection. But unbeknownst to Kira, the Zorvans had no intention of forging peace. They viewed humanity as weak, untested, and below them. The notion of humanity entering their domain with any kind of superiority was an insult they couldn't bear. When Kira and her team arrived, everything seemed normal. The colony was bustling, eager to host the first official human-Zorvan talks. However, as soon as the diplomatic meeting began, everything turned violent. The Zorvans, who had masked their true intentions with false pleasantries, suddenly launched an unprovoked attack. Their ships fired on the peaceful colony, and before anyone could react, every human civilian was slaughtered. The diplomats, including Kira, were taken prisoner, left to die in the rubble of what was once a thriving settlement. Kira barely escaped with her life. The attack was swift and merciless. As she crawled through the smoke-filled ruins of the colony, the weight of the horror she had witnessed began to sink in. Entire families, innocent men, women, and children, were wiped out in an instant. The Zorvans had committed genocide, and they had done it with no remorse. Amidst the devastation, Kira's anger began to rise. The cold fire that had been simmering in her for years now blazed to life. She was no longer just a diplomat or a negotiator. She was a survivor, and she would make the galaxy remember her name. As she stumbled through the ruins, the faces of the innocent haunted her. She thought of her people, her family, and the millions who would mourn. This would not go unpunished. Her transmission back to Earth was brief, but powerful. There was no longer room for diplomacy. Humanity's response would be swift, and it would be overwhelming. We are not your prey. Rising from the ashes back on Earth, the news of the attack sent shockwaves through the planet. Kira's transmission had spread across every communication channel, echoing in the minds of millions. Humanity had faced many threats in its rise across the stars, but nothing like this. For the first time, Earth's leaders realized how far the galaxy had gone in underestimating humanity. The Zorvans had declared war, but they had made a grave mistake. Humanity would no longer be the peaceful explorers they had once been. They were now a force to be reckoned with. The United Earth government convened an emergency council. Its leaders focused on one thing: retaliation. The Zorvans would pay for their massacre, but not only the Zorvans. Every race that thought humanity was weak, every race that had thought they could trample over Earth, would feel the consequences of underestimating humankind. Commander Jackson. Derek, a decorated war hero and one of the few military minds humanity trusted, was selected to lead the charge. The newly formed Galactic Strike Force was born, and it was designed to be the most powerful and terrifying military force the universe had ever seen. Humanity's greatest minds and resources were pooled together to create weapons beyond imagination. The Event Horizon engine, a top-secret weapon capable of generating artificial black holes, would become their ultimate tool of vengeance. Kira, having barely survived the Zorvan assault, became the face of humanity's wrath. Her resolve hardened, and she vowed to make sure the galaxy understood what it meant to anger humanity. She would stand beside Commander Derek, guiding the human forces as they unleashed their fury upon the universe. The gathering storm, the human fleet was not alone. As Earth's forces prepared, other species watched closely. The Zorvan's actions had rippled throughout the galaxy. The Eldari, an ancient race of philosophers and tacticians, feared humanity's growing power and began to strategize how best to counter it. The Oxyath, a race of energy beings with the ability to manipulate time and space, took an interest in the growing conflict, uncertain of how humanity would affect the cosmic balance. The Tekelians, a race of formidable warriors, watched the developments warily, unsure whether they should align with humanity or prepare for a new battle. As Commander Derek and Kira gathered the human forces, the atmosphere was tense. The Event Horizon engine had been tested in secret, and now it was ready for use. The weapon could tear through entire solar systems, creating black holes that would consume everything in their gravitational pull. It was humanity's ace in the koi, Ol, and the galaxy was about to witness its first use. The human fleet, now the largest and most powerful in the galaxy, set course for Zorvan space. With every passing moment, the tension grew. Humanity had faced hardship before, but this time, it wasn't about survival. This time, it was about revenge. The galaxy had made a mistake, and it was time to make them pay. The first strike. The human fleet arrived in Zorvan space like a storm on the horizon, massive ships cutting through the darkness. The Zorvans, who had been preparing for a counterattack, were caught off guard by the speed and intensity of humanity's assault. Commander Derek gave the order, and the Event Horizon engine was activated for the first time. A massive black hole opened above the Zorvan capital. The human fleet, with its advanced weaponry, tore through the Zorvan defense systems with ease. The Zorvan homeworld, its cities, its fleets, everything, was consumed in an instant. No warning, no second chances. It was over. The shockwave from the artificial black hole rippled through space, disintegrating everything in its path. The stars themselves seemed to flicker and die, one by one. The once mighty Zorvans were reduced to nothing more than cosmic dust, their legacy erased. A new order. With the Zorvans' destruction came a new order. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's power. Kira, now hailed as the face of humanity's vengeance, broadcasted a chilling message to the universe. We are humanity. We have seen your cruelty, and now you will see our wrath. We are not your prey. We are not your inferiors. You angered us, and now the universe will pay the price. This is only the beginning. The other alien races, watching in fear, began to reconsider their stance on humanity. Some, like the Tekelians, reached out in a bid to form alliances, hoping to avoid becoming targets. Others, like the Vradar, who believed in dominance through fear, prepared for the inevitable clash. Humanity's power had shifted the balance of the galaxy, and no one knew who would be next to fall under its wrath. The Oxyath response. The Oxyath, beings of pure energy who had watched from the shadows, decided that humanity could not be allowed to grow unchecked. They launched an all-out assault on Earth, hoping to destroy humanity's fleet before it could gain too much power. But they underestimated humanity's resolve and the Event Horizon engine. The Oxyath fleet arrived at Earth, only to be decimated by humanity's forces. Their attempts to manipulate time and space were futile against the unrelenting human. Counterattack. Commander Derek led the fleet in a series of devastating assaults, wiping out the Oxyath armada in record time. The Oxyath leaders, realizing their error, ordered a retreat. But it was too late. Humanity had proven that they were not just a growing force. They were the dominant power in the galaxy. The galaxy trembles. As the Oxyath crumbled, the remaining galactic empires were thrown into turmoil. The once mighty Galactic Council, which had represented the most powerful species in the universe, now found themselves powerless in the face of humanity's might. The universe had changed. What had once been a place of delicate balance was now ruled by humanity's overwhelming strength. Alien species that had once fought for dominance now feared humanity's power. The Zorvans were gone, the Oxyath shattered, and humanity's fleet stood as an unchallenged force. The Event Horizon engine had become a symbol of terror and awe, a weapon capable of erasing entire civilizations. The age of humanity. The universe had watched in awe and terror as humanity's power grew. The destruction of the Zorvans, followed by the obliteration of the Oxyath, had left the galaxy trembling in fear. The once proud and ancient civilizations that had ruled for eons now found themselves in a new, terrifying reality. A reality where humanity was no longer a fledgling species to be dismissed or conquered. They had arrived, and the galaxy was forever changed. Commander Jackson Derrick stood at the helm of the Eclipse, staring out at the endless expanse of space. The fleet had been victorious, but the true test was still ahead. The universe was vast, and many species still clung to their notions of dominance. The Tekelians, the Vradar, the Eldari, each had their own agenda, their own power, and their own plans. But none of them would stand in humanity's way. Kira Holt, now a symbol of humanity's vengeance and power, stood beside him, her expression steely. She had seen the universe's cruelty firsthand, had felt the heat of its betrayal. But now, as the leader of humanity's forces, she knew the time had come for a new era, an era of human supremacy. "We've done it," Derrick said quietly, his voice almost a whisper as he gazed out at the stars. "But the fight isn't over." Kira nodded, her eyes narrowing. "No, it's just begun." Humanity's path was no longer one of peace or diplomacy. The galaxy had shown them that it could not be trusted. The old ways of negotiation and compromise had failed. Now, there was only one way forward: dominance. And humanity would take that step, one system at a time. The Eclipse and its fleet were not alone. More ships followed in their wake, new fleets composed of the most advanced warships, powered by the Event Horizon engine, and armed with weapons beyond the imagination of any species in the galaxy. The galaxy was now at the mercy of human will. Those who dared to oppose would meet the same fate as the Zorvans and the Oxyath: total annihilation. Kira's voice rang out over the comms, her words carrying through every fleet and station across human-controlled space. "This is the beginning of the age of humanity. We have shown the galaxy what we are capable of. No more will we be prey. No more will we be ruled. We are the dominant force in this universe, and we will not stop until every last corner of space kneels before us." Her declaration echoed across the cosmos, reaching the ears of alien leaders, warlords, and diplomats alike. Some quaked in fear, others in defiance, but none could ignore the weight of humanity's power. The Event Horizon engine had proven its might, and the galaxy understood now. There was no force stronger than humanity's desire for revenge and control. On the edge of a distant system, an emergency meeting was called by the remaining members of the Galactic Council. The Eldari, the Tekelians, and the Vradar gathered in secret, fearful of what was to come. The balance of power had shifted, irreversibly, and the Council knew they had no way of matching humanity's might. "We must act," said a voice among the Eldari. "The humans cannot be allowed to spread unchecked. They will destroy everything we've built. We must unite to stop them." Another voice, this time from the Tekelians, replied, "And how do you propose we stop them? They have weapons that can wipe us out in a matter of hours. The Event Horizon engine is unlike anything we've seen. We are powerless against it." The room fell silent, each species realizing that their collective strength meant nothing in the face of humanity's wrath. They were divided, weaker than they had ever been, and humanity had already shown that they would not hesitate to erase anyone who opposed them. Meanwhile, Kira stood at the forefront of a new council, one that no longer consisted of the galaxy's various species, but of humanity's finest leaders. There was no room for mercy in this new age. Humanity had learned from the galaxy's mistakes. They would not be caught off guard again. The first planet to feel humanity's wrath was the Tekelian homeworld. The Tekelians, a race of warriors proud of their combat prowess, had seen the destruction of their enemies and believed that they could withstand the might of humanity. But as their fleets clashed with the human warships, they quickly realized the truth. The human fleet was unlike anything they had ever fought. The Event Horizon engine was deployed with precision, tearing through the Tekelian defenses and pulling entire cities into a gravitational collapse. The Tekelian capital was erased in moments, a black hole consuming everything in its path. The galaxy had just seen the power of humanity's will, and it was an unstoppable force. The galaxy trembled as humanity's fleets began their conquest. Each system they took, each planet they conquered, was a symbol of their dominance. Entire civilizations were wiped from the stars, leaving only silence in their wake.